So credit cards are basically like short-term personal loans, but unlike personal loans, a credit card can be availed for free without any interest. If you use your credit card carefully, you should know all the unusual and hidden charges that the credit card providers are trying to extract from you every month. Maybe they have done it, but you haven't realized. So let's begin. Here's a small request. If you end up liking this video, please don't forget to hit the like button. Hello everybody, this is Arijit. Let's take it easy. If you make transactions in any foreign currencies, you will have to bear the consequences. If you make transactions in any foreign currencies, you will have to pay the transaction fee. By the way, I am just using these 3 credit cards for reference. With Axis Ace credit card, the foreign currency transaction fee is 3.5% of the transaction amount. It is the same 3.5% with Amex Gold credit card as well. With HDFC Easy EMI credit card, it's a little cheaper. It is 1.99%. There is something called a billing cycle with every credit card, and of course there is a bill generation date. So for example, your bill is generated on 15th of every month, that is the end of your billing cycle, and after your bill is generated you will get 15 to 20 days of extra time to pay the bill, and this time period is called interest-free period. If you pay your credit card bill within this interest-free period, you don't need to pay any kind of interest or charges, but late payment fee is charged if you do not pay your bill on time. Besides the total amount due, there is a minimum amount due in a credit card bill, which is the minimum amount you need to pay within the due date in order to avoid the late payment fees. But don't get too excited. Don't pay the minimum amount because it can avoid the late payment fee but not the interest. We will talk about the interest later. Paying minimum amount due will also disable your interest-free period. If you keep paying minimum due amount, then the interest will keep piling up and you will find yourself in a debt trap. Normally there is a late payment fee structure with most credit cards. Mostly a flat penalty will be there. For example, with Axis Bank Ace credit card, different late payment fees are applicable for different ranges of the total amount due. With HDFC Bank's Easy EMI credit card, the late payment fees can be a little bit higher. The late payment fees can go up to 1300 rupees, and with Amex Gold credit card, the late payment fees will be 30% of the minimum due amount. So, cash withdrawal. This is probably one of the worst things you can do with your credit card. I made the same mistake. Of course, you will have to pay the cash withdrawal fees and you will also have to pay the interest. And talking about the interest on cash withdrawal, there is something which most people don't know about. We will talk about that later, but now let's talk about the cash withdrawal fees. With Axis Ace credit card, the cash withdrawal fees is 2.5%. A minimum amount of 500 rupees will be applicable. For example, if it is an emergency and you don't have anything left in your bank account, you withdraw 1000 rupees with your credit card and you will have to pay 2.5%, which is 25 rupees. Not that much, but a minimum amount of 500 rupees is applicable. So the cash withdrawal fees will not be 2.5% or 25 rupees for 1000 rupees. It will be 500 rupees. That means 50%. So don't just look at the 2.5%. Look at the minimum fees, which is 500 rupees. Even if you withdraw 10,000 rupees of cash, the 2.5% amount will be 250 rupees, but you will still have to pay 500 rupees. Most of the credit card providers have this kind of crazy cash withdrawal fees. So ideally, you should never do it. So now let's talk about interest. Like I mentioned earlier, with every cash withdrawal, you will have to pay the cash withdrawal fee and you will also have to pay the interest on the cash amount. The interest is generally between 2 to 3% for most credit cards, but the worst part is there is no interest free period for cash withdrawal. And I think a lot of people don't really know about this. Like all the other transactions, your bill is generated and you get 15 to 20 days of extra time to pay the bill, which is also called the interest free period. But with cash withdrawal, you don't have any interest free period. So your interest will be counted from the first day. From the first day when you performed the cash transaction. If you do not pay your bill on time, you will have to pay the late payment fee, which we already discussed, but you will also have to pay the interest on the total amount due. If you pay your credit card bill partially, the remaining amount with interest will be added to your next bill. And like I mentioned earlier, the interest will be charged even if you pay the minimum amount. The interest rate, mostly it stays within this range of 2.5 to 4%. Monthly interest rate of 2.5% to 4% looks less, but it means 30 to 48% yearly interest rate, which is crazy. You can get a home loan for as low as 6.5 to 7% nowadays, and personal loan which has high interest rate is usually available for 10 to 20% per annum or yearly, but with credit cards, you will have to pay 30 to 50% per annum. However, the good thing is that you only have to pay the interest when you either don't pay your bill on time or you withdraw cash. Some credit card providers might trick you with the monthly interest rate, which looks less, so always look for the APR or annual percentage rate, which is the yearly interest rate basically. If you are not careful, there will also be interest on interest. Like if you don't pay your bill or if you pay your bill partially, the remaining amount with interest will be added to your next bill. Keep in mind the interest from the previous bill is already added to the bill amount. So the total bill amount already contains the unpaid amount and the interest. So if you do not pay your bill again or you pay your bill partially, the next bill will again have late payment charges as well as interest. That means you are paying interest on interest. So first of all, you can get a lifetime free credit card, which is also called a zero yearly charges credit card. These are usually entry-level credit cards. Then there are credit cards which have yearly charges which can be avoided. But there are some conditions, like the card provider will waive off the yearly charges if you spend a certain amount of money with your credit card. These kinds of cards are usually mid-range or mid-level credit cards. And then finally there are credit cards which have yearly charges. These credit cards don't offer any kind of waiver for their yearly charges. These are usually high-end credit cards. Normally, the more the card provider charges annual fee, the more features and benefits they provide in terms of cashback, lounge access, insurance, etc. For Axis Ace credit card, the joining fee is rupees 499 and the annual fee from second year onwards is again rupees 499. But this card has avoidable annual fee. If you spend 10,000 rupees using the card within the first 45 days of issuing the card, then your joining fee will be reversed or waived off. And if you spend 200,000 or 2 lakh rupees annually, your annual fee of rupees 499 will be reversed or waived off. HDFC Easy EMI credit card also has annual fee or membership fee, and if you spend 20,000 rupees within the first 3 months, the first year annual fee will be waived off, and then if you spend 50,000 rupees annually, the annual fee will be waived off again. For Amex Gold credit card, the annual fee is 2,000 rupees, and so far I know Amex Gold credit card doesn't offer any kind of waiver or reversal, so you will have to pay the annual fee with Amex Gold credit card. Over limit charges. This can be very dangerous if you do not keep track of your available limit or remaining limit of your credit card. Suppose your credit card has a limit of 20,000 rupees and you have already made transactions of 10,000 rupees, and again you are trying to buy a smartphone that costs maybe 15,000 rupees, and you buy that phone of 15,000 rupees with your credit card which has available limit of only 10,000 rupees. So that means you have gone over limit. Card providers used to block the transaction if you tried to spend over the limit of your credit card, but nowadays you can go over limit and the card providers will allow it because they will charge you for doing so. So if your credit card has the option of turning off the over limit transactions, you should definitely do that. With Axis Ace credit card, the over limit penalty is 3% of the over limit amount. So back to my last example, your available limit was 10,000 rupees and you made transactions of 15,000 rupees, so your over limit amount will be 5,000 rupees. So with Axis Ace credit card, your over limit penalty will be 3% of that 5,000 rupees, which is 150 rupees, but there is a catch again. The over limit penalty is 3% but a minimum of 500 rupees. So that means your 3% will be 150 rupees, but you will end up paying 500 rupees as a minimum penalty. With HDFC Easy EMI card, the over limit penalty is 2.5% and again a minimum of 550 rupees. A lot of people, including myself, think that they might forget to pay the credit card bill by the due date or the interest-free period, and that will surely cause a lot of trouble, including late payment fees, interest, and negative impact on your credit score as well. So these people, including myself again, think that they should enable the auto debit feature, which will deduct the minimum amount or the total amount due from your bank account on the last moment of the due date if the bill was not paid. If the credit card provider is a bank, auto debit feature might be enabled by default if you have an account with the same bank. Otherwise, you can set up auto debit feature on your own as well. But if you don't pay your bill and the auto debit feature works and your bank account doesn't have sufficient balance, then there will be a penalty for the auto debit failure. Some people like to pay their credit card bill with check, and again, in case of a check bounce, which means your account doesn't have sufficient balance, there will be a penalty for the check bounce or the check return. For Axis Ace credit card, it is 2% of the payment amount and a minimum of 450 rupees. For the Amex Gold credit card, it is a flat fee of 150 rupees for corporate cards and 250 rupees for consumer cards. Then there are different kinds of transaction charges. If you try booking a train ticket using the IRCTC website, during the final steps of the transaction, the website will tell you how much transaction fees will be there. The Axis Ace credit card doesn't mention the charges clearly on their website, but the HDFC Easy EMI credit card mentions that the railway ticket booking fees will be 1% of the transaction value plus GST. Amex Gold credit card mentions that if you book your train ticket using IRCTC website, they will charge you 1.8% and a minimum of 10 rupees. The transaction charge on fuel purchase is called fuel surcharge. There is good news and there is bad news as well. The bad news is every time you make a fuel purchase through your credit card, you have to pay a fuel surcharge of 1%, a minimum of 10 rupees, and GST will also be charged additionally. Before 2017, the fuel surcharge was 2.5%. Generally, credit cards do not provide any cashback with fuel transactions. The good news is you can get a fuel surcharge waiver with most credit cards, but there are some conditions. With Axis Ace, you can get a waiver if your fuel transaction is between rupees 400 and 4000. A maximum waiver of 500 rupees is available per statement. However, the GST on the fuel surcharge is non-refundable. With HDFC Easy EMI card as well, you can get a waiver if your fuel transaction is rupees 400 or more, and a maximum benefit of rupees 250 can be availed per statement. Some people, which I believe a very limited number of people, might want to pay their credit card bill with cash, and there is a fee if you want to pay your credit card bill with cash. Credit card providers want you to pay the credit card bill online. That is why they have cash payment charges to discourage you to visit the branch and pay the bill by cash. For Axis Ace and HDFC Easy EMI, the cash payment fee is 100 rupees. And with Amex Gold credit card, probably you can't pay by cash directly, at least in India. Not sure about the other countries. I'm not talking about payments made via third-party services. I'm talking about direct cash payments, and yes, you can pay with checks and drafts. This is something which most people don't think about, but all credit card services attract GST at 18% in India. And of course, it depends from country to country. GST will be applicable on interest on credit card EMIs, processing fees, late payment charges, joining fees, annual fees, over limit charges, cash withdrawal charges, on the interest on cash withdrawal amount, and all the other fees charged by your credit card provider. Keep in mind, GST is not applicable on the purchase amount of the bill. For example, if you buy 10,000 rupees worth of goods and services, you will not be required to pay any GST on that 10,000 rupees when your bill is generated at the end of the billing cycle. However, if your bill includes any of the other fees charged by the bank or the card provider, like annual fees, over limit charges, or any of the other charges which we discussed, GST will be applicable only on those fees and charges. So guys, I hope you learned something from this video. If you liked the video, please don't forget to hit the like button. It motivates me a lot. Get subscribed, subscription is free, and don't forget to turn on all notifications by hitting the bell. If you have any questions or suggestions, please drop it in the comment section. If you think the information in this video is really useful, please go ahead and share this video with your friends and family. So guys, that's it for this video. Have a great time, and I will see you in the next video.